Evening, freaks. I'm here to drop in with you this Halloween to just tap into the energies and play. This is known as Witch's New Year, so it's when we have a turning of the wheel and we start a brand new cycle. So I thought it'd just be kind of cool to tap into the energy and see what's in store in this next cycle. How will things shake out? Man, if it's anything like the energy in play tonight, it's probably going to be really weird. The energy feels so like tricky tonight. I don't know if you all are feeling that, but I feel it. It's like trickster energy ran rampant. There's a lot of mischievous energy on the ethers too. I feel that. I think that there's going to be some people that are definitely going to be really active in the occult arts tonight. I can just feel it. I can feel that energy. But it's interesting. There's also kind of like this wild card undercurrent where it's a fine line, you know? Like I could also see how there could be some real issues at this time and people being combative and impulsive and in a way that could really not be a good thing. All right, so try not to get out of hand when you're out there having a good time tonight. If you hit up the clubs or you go to a party or whatever, just be mindful, man. Don't get into any petty fights. It kind of had that vibe, or almost like inebriated and getting into like a battle of words with somebody that ends up getting physical, and then two people end up getting thrown in jail at the end of the night. So just watch it. Interesting. Bottom of the deck energy. Yeah, we got trick or treat, mischief and play. Okay, so this is what this is supposed to be all about. It's supposed to be about fun, having a good time, right? Yeah, so keep it light, all right? Don't do anything crazy. If you see your ex out at the club and she's with her new man, don't get into a battle of words. There might be some of you running into your lover on the side out in public when you're out with your committed partner, and there might be a little drama that gets stirred up around that. I had that piece come in. I mean, I had a whole download come in around that situation, and just that with the alcohol involved and the fueled tempers and sort of the pissing contest between the two men, that it could really turn into a violent, aggressive situation where people end up in quite a bit of legal trouble, and somebody actually could get really hurt, really hurt. So I didn't want to bring in that download because I don't like doing reads on stuff like that where it's focused on just drama, because I just don't feel the benefit. But it did come through as a very strong like download, very strong. It was like so front and center. So be careful out there, right? Sometimes it's really just better to be like water, like Bruce Lee says, and just let it flow on, man. Let it go, right? If you love someone, let them go. If they're meant to be with you, your paths will cross at the appropriate time. And if it's just, this big thing about, who's the best, and you're getting into some competitive mindset, you got to ask yourself at some point, what are you really doing there? And what are you sacrificing? At what cost? Victory at what cost? I don't know. It's just not worth it. And in my opinion, okay, yeah, look at this winter, the sacredness of pausing. You might want to just take a moment, step outside into the cool, brisk air, cool down a little bit, all right? Bring yourself back into a place of sweetness and synergy. You got too much going for you at this time, right? Your harvest is on the way. Like, don't screw it up right when you're close to having a breakthrough in your life. That's what I got, right? So maybe you are dealing with some people around you that are being a little dramatic, or they're kind of like poking at you, or you're dealing with some kind of situation in your life. But it's up to you to decide what you choose to focus on, what you choose to tap into. So much like I said, I'm not bringing in that read. I'll give the warning. I'll give the memo, because it's somebody's issue out there tonight. All I know is it ain't mine. Be mindful. You could really sabotage yourself. Like I get, like you could really, something really bad could go down. This is what was coming in, and it is pretty persistent. So it feels like it's a download for somebody. Just know, like, somebody could end up, you know, somebody could end up like with a serious charge, like somebody could lose their life. All right, so don't mess around. All right, it's not worth it. Walk away. Be like Michael Jackson and just beat it. It's not worth it. Why? And Ted just said yes to that too. Okay, so it's not worth it. Better to just like get some distance, cool your head. Okay, you feel really activated like that, especially if you've been drinking or out partying or something. Just walk away, clear your head, get a different view. It's not worth sacrificing what's up ahead for you. I feel like whoever you are, that this applies to, you're in a position in your life where you're about to really step up to a pivotal moment of success. It's like one of those landmarks on your road to success and what you've been building. And you could go and get in some kind of like silly drama mess like this, and you could totally destroy your future. Okay, so now that it's been said, okay, I got it. All right, we spoke to it. We're going to move on from that, because that's how we do that here. We stay present. All right, here we go. We got the ancestors coming in. I love that with the night song. Tonight is really a night that if you get a chance to go out and just sit under that waning moon, I really encourage you to do so, because there's some kind of wisdom that wants to come through from your ancestors. Do make contact with them tonight in whatever way you can, okay? Even if it's just lighting a candle, or, just having a conversation with them, or just remembering the good times, maybe flipping through an old photo album. But we do know there's some messages that will come through for you, likely tonight, maybe even through music, okay? So there might be some music that comes in tonight that really feels like a direct communication from your ancestors. So do pay attention to what songs are like playing on the radio. You ever do that? Like you use the radio to give you your fortune? I do that all the time. Like, okay, I'm going to turn on the radio, and whatever song's playing is going to be the answer to my question. Maybe some of you do that too. I feel like there's something that's going to come in tonight where when this song hits, and it's at the moment that it hits, that it's a direct communication from your loved one who passed on. And I think there's something that's coming through for you tonight that maybe is also helping you realize that maybe you do have some ability to actually make contact beyond the veil, Maybe you're somebody who's starting to step into some of your psychic gifts. Maybe you're starting to develop the ability to, move into mediumship. This is new for you. You might have doubted it before, but there might be some download you get tonight that really convinces you that, no, I actually got a direct line here. Look at this. Skull of darkness, blind spots. Yeah, like I feel like you've had a blind spot around this, like you didn't believe that you really were connecting, or maybe it's because other people kind of like had something to say about it when you decided to share it with a few people, that, hey, I'm thinking that I might have medium abilities. I think that whatever happens tonight is really going to come through for you and illuminate that, yes, you do have a direct line. You might even be doing some work, like candle work tonight. And it might be in a moment where you're doing Tratak. I don't know if you're familiar with Tratak, but Tratak is when you use the flame of a candle almost as a meditative focus. And you just stare into the flame, so much so that it's like you become one with the flame. And it provides a certain sense of focus and clarity. And it might be in that space that you get this like direct communication comes through. So you might want to do some candle gazing tonight, just to get in touch with your ancestors. There's something that comes in that brings you into this place of joy. And I think you're going to feel this beautiful sense of connection and release from these judgments or these blockages you had around this gift. It's really some beautiful energy coming in. And I think the key for you to really access it and be able to trust it is to be present with it, okay? So yeah, try Tratak, try candle gazing. This might be a key for you. It might be the thing that allows you to sort of like get out of your head and your judgments and your thoughts around it, or the doubts others have put on you around it, and allows you to really just hear the communication so clearly. I feel like something's coming in for you and it's going to be really potent, all right? And it's going to let you know that, no, I do have a direct link. And this is something pivotal for the person that's for. That's really pivotal on your path. It's something that's going to really shift. It's going to shift how you work in the future. That's interesting. Maybe you do some kind of healing work, and this is going to be an integral part of your healing work. It might inform your healing work in some way. Some of you are writers, and you specifically write about healing. Interesting. There might be some peace that comes in here that involves the mediumship. Jack-o'-lantern, protection. Yeah, you might have had some fear around it. Again, there's the joy. It's like when this unlocks for you, you feel so much joy. You feel so much joy. This is somebody really stepping into the gift of mediumship I'm picking up on right now. You've been blocking it. You might have had a fear around it. You may have felt like it was dangerous, or, you know, you just kind of had some old programming you needed to shed around it. But I feel like you're letting go of your fear. And it's because of some important download that comes in tonight. And you're totally protected in it. You know, so there's this beautiful energy that comes through. And there's this thing you need to understand with mediumship, because I'm a medium, but, you know, the thing with me is I don't go and like bug, you know, those who have passed on. When they want to come through, they come through. But it's not like you're not in charge of the experience. And that's something that people don't really understand. You kind of like, just sort of like, your consciousness feels like it gets pushed aside a little bit. So the awareness can come in, and you're sort of like grokking that person's energy. How does mediumship work? I don't know, you know, and the reality is nobody really knows for sure. I have some different theories about it that are kind of unconventional. I don't know why this is coming in, but I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it and shuffle these cards and see what wants to come out on the table. I really just wanted to be improv with this. I didn't have like a specific goal for this reading. Okay, I just wanted to kind of tap into the energies and see whatever wanted to come out, sort of guiding us into this next year, the next turning of the wheel. But the thing about mediumship is that you're always there. It's not like something takes over you. Okay, at least this has been my experience of it. And is it an actual spirit? Nobody knows. I mean, we all have our theories and we all have our faith, right? We all have our truth, but nobody really knows. Could it just be a psychic imprint that you're picking up on so strongly that you're able to integrate it? And when I say that, I mean, I'm talking about like quantum physics and how they say that, you know, all dimensions of time and space and all points of history, and even you know, multiple versions of yourself are all, you know, living out life simultaneously. Like everything is happening simultaneously, layers upon layers upon layers of dimensional reality. And, you know, some hypothesize that this is where deja vu comes from. Okay. Again, they're just all ideas. They're all ideas, but there's been some fascinating studies done by those who are, you know, paranormal investigators. I saw one once where they were going into a very old, I want to say it was a whole hotel. I can't remember what hotel it was. Okay, forgive me. It's not. That's not the point. I wish I could remember, but that's not the point of the story or relaying this. The point is that they went into this one room that used to be the billiard room, all right? And they set up all this recording equipment and, you know, stuff to monitor video, sound, energy, you know, all that, all right? And they were doing like a paranormal investigation of the space. And what came through is they got a recording of, you know, the sound of billiards, you know, and the sound of, you know, people like talking and having a time. But what was interesting is when they were recording this, like they couldn't hear that in the physical environment, but because of what they have, it picked up these sounds. Now, they talked about it being almost like an energetic imprint, you know, and they were, again, hypothesizing, well, how could this be, or how did this come about, and what could be the explanation? And again, nobody knows. Okay, these are all unknowable things. It's all a great mystery. But sometimes I wonder if mediumship is just that, or what we view as spirits are just that. If it's like this frequency, you know, it's this like imprint. It's like an energetic imprint, sort of like your fingerprints, you know, that's put on a particular point in time and space. And sometimes that impression is so strong and lasting that it registers, you know, it registers long after the physical, you know, experience that left that imprint there is gone. And so, you know, maybe open your mind. That might help you. It can sometimes drive people to more of a fear space when they label something that's really unable to be labeled. You know, it's almost like the definitions that we give things can also be the very thing that keeps us closed from stepping into the expansion of the experience. So if you told yourself like, oh, you know, if I'm practicing mediumship, that means that some, you know, spirit's going to take me over and I'm going to be possessed. Well, you're going to be afraid of that. But if you look at it and understand the reality of the situation, which is you really don't know how it works. You don't. You just know that you are feeling an energy come in and you're picking up information with it, and then you're having the information verified that, yes, that's true. Okay. You might just be reading the energetic imprint. It's possible. And something that, you know, the person you're talking to or the experience you're having at that moment is what helps you tap into that particular energetic imprint. And that's all it is. So I think it's helpful to just be open-minded, right? Okay. If the gifts are awakening in you, they're awakening in you. And the more that you can kind of be open to it, I found, and let yourself know that it's like, well, I can't really define this because this is an experience I've never had. So why does it have to be bad? Or why does it have to be scary? It doesn't. You don't know what the experience is. So just be open to it and trust. If it's something that's emerging in you, it's meant to awaken in you. It's a gift, right? So this is something that can really help. Fear tends to drive a lot of negative experiences when it comes to moving into psychic expansion or just working the spiritual path in general. The more that you can kind of accept that there is a mystery to life and we don't have the great picture, the better off you're going to be. Okay. It's interesting. Okay. So right here we got ancestors, the love and legacy of our DNA. So some of you may actually have, like, you may find that there's a lot of people in your lineage that have psychic gifts. And so for those of you that are going through this kind of like expansion right now, and you are moving into mediumship, or you're starting to get in touch with your ancestors in this way, where you just intrinsically know. Some of you are getting into this because you're really working your ancestral bloodline. You're really getting in touch with your history, your roots. And as you do that, you'll find that you start to really grok the energy of your ancestors. Then as you learn more about them, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that my ancestors were into that they focused on that was part of their spiritual practices, or this is how they lived their lives, or this was their beliefs. And you'll notice that these energies have been working out through you all along. Okay, so that's another way of looking at it, right? But this may be a gift, you know, that comes from your ancestral bloodline. And it's also something that's going to help you connect more deeply to your ancestors. Some of you are meant to become a bridge for others to connect with their ancestors in this way. People who have missing pieces, who feel disconnected from their ancestry, will be able to come to you, and you'll be able to link them with that ancestor or get the answers to questions that they were never able to have resolved because that person left this world too soon. Okay. And even in the case where there's been like adoption, or where someone never got to meet their parent for one reason or another, again, like I feel like you have a way of tapping into these energies, and you're going to be connecting people on a soul level with that missing piece of their history, that missing piece of the roots of who they are. That's what I feel, okay? That's why this gift is awakening in you, okay? This just wanted to come through, but this is a really good sign. I love seeing this here for us coming in as far as the template for what the next year has in store with this turning of the wheel. We got dawn, the light after the darkness, okay? So, the energy may feel a little unusual right now. The energy may be a little tricky. I know there's a lot of kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot of hype. I'm hearing a lot of hype about Scorpio season and the astrology, and I understand. Pluto is kind of a heavy energy, but at the same time, we've also gotten kind of used to working with it. You know what I'm saying? We've been moving through these energies for quite a while. So, is there a way that we can kind of not take it so intensely seriously? And when I say that, I don't mean ignore that there's these problems, but can you maybe be aware that there's problems and yet still move forward in spite of that? Still focus on maybe more of the fun side of life, or maybe on where there's light peering into the situation, or what's inspiring you. Okay. Yeah. Invisibility, authenticity. It's like the more that we can kind of get to this place where, we can have a balanced view. Because the truth is that where there's darkness, there's also light. Okay. So this is about understanding that when things feel really confusing, or everything's kind of going through a reroute, or you can't really see the way forward, you've got scrying coming in here. And tonight is traditionally a wonderful time to do any kind of divination. Okay. So you might want to just sort of get in touch with the intuitive impressions that come through for you tonight. And that's also the way we find our way through the darkness and get to the other side, is sometimes we got to like feel our way through. But, just because you may be going through circumstances where you don't know where things are going to end up, it doesn't mean it has to be a negative thing. There's something really positive and beautiful that can come out of it. It's about you being willing to look at things in a different way, instead of automatically assuming that everything is going to, go to hell in a handbasket. And yeah, it's a challenging time out there. There's real issues in the world, and you may be dealing with very real issues in your life. But there's this peace, right? There's this peace about it's just about there, this point where you're going to break into the light of a new day, right? It doesn't mean things will always be perfect, but there's some kind of opportunity, there's some type of relief that's building in your life. And in order to really be able to step into that, you got to let the shadows slip away. So talk to your ancestors tonight if you're working on trying to let something go. Some of you are really missing a loved one that passed over this past year. And for those of you that are dropping in with that, and you're, holding space for a grieving process tonight, I just send you a lot of love, but your loved one's with you. We see eternal love. Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. So this is beautiful. Okay. That love is always there for you. So this can be a really wonderful time just to kind of like remember those that we love that are no longer with us, and think about their dreams, and think about the wisdom that we learned from them. And what do you think they would tell you about the problems that you're facing in your life right now, the challenges you're going through? They would probably tell you not to, sweat it so much, because you only got so much time on this earth. So wherever you can find, the pockets of light, or the things that make you feel good, or the things that remind you of the beauty that's in the world, that's where, it's really wise to invest your time and energy, because you never know how long you got here, right? But this is about you kind of feeling in this space where you're not sure what's up ahead. We got the veil, the future, right? But the future is always going to be unknown. We never know for certain where things are going to head in the future. And And that's why you kind of just got to feel your way through. And people can be scared sometimes, especially when they're going through a process where they have to let something go that they become very familiar with. They can get scared and they can cling to creature comforts, but that doesn't mean that that's going to spare them from the future. I mean, the future marches on. Okay, like time does not stand still, and if something's meant to leave your life, it's going to leave one way or another. And sometimes we can make things harder on ourselves by our resistance to letting go. And it's a natural process of life, but there's something coming through here about really the need to accept the losses and be at peace with them. And I'm again just recalling the Sabian symbol that came in for 5 degrees Taurus with this full moon lunar eclipse we just had, which was a widow standing over an open grave. And this is really the cycle when we are doing a lot of release work. So some of you may be feeling a little bit heavy tonight. That's what I got, a little heavy or a little activated. You're dealing with some endings in your life and the energy is difficult. Some of you may be feeling worse for the wear. Some of you are not feeling very trusting. You may feel like it's all over. Sometimes we fatalize things. We go through an experience and we're just like, this is the end of the world. But the reality is, how many times have you been through an experience like that, right? And it's like, this is what you don't see. We got midnight, the most magical hour of all. It's like, it's always at that 11th hour, man, when things finally come together and they make sense. And I feel like we're really heading toward that time. It's not here yet, okay? It's really interesting, midnight. We're in the 11th hour. We're about to enter the 11th hour. And I really feel like that's kind of what's coming in November, all right? We really have like such dynamic Pluto energy front and center for the month of November. And November is going to be kind of an intense month, okay? I do feel like November is going to be a testing month. It's going to be kind of tricky for everybody, but if we navigate it in the right way and if we can stay present and if we're really good with just accepting, okay? Accepting and letting go and trusting, even if we feel a little apprehensive because we can't see the way forward. There's something that comes out at the end of the month, it's like just as you head into December, there's something that like saves your butt at the 11th hour. It might come down to the wire in November, like the last days of November, kind of the deck energy. Yeah, look at this, zombie, control. Like this is what's really causing all of the suffering. People don't understand this. Trick or treat. Mischief and play, isn't this interesting? Okay. This is the way we trip ourselves up. It's kind of like we're playing tricks on ourselves. This is when we're shadow boxing. This is when we are lost in that hall of mirrors, just like looking at all these reflections. And that's all they are, the reflections, because a lot of times it's, when you're in this place of control, you're holding on to stuff that's already slipped through your hands. If it was so present and so established and such a sure thing, if it really had a place in your life, you wouldn't feel this need to scramble for control. Just the evidence of the need to control shows that it's already slipping away. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the more you can be in this place of just allowing, you may not realize that this is actually to your benefit. Sometimes things are a little tricky in life. Sometimes life takes something from us. It seems like it's a big loss. It feels unfair. It feels like a dirty trick's been played on us. But it's actually just a little mischief in play, and you get a little bit of a reroute. This thing that you thought was so scary, it's not so scary after all when you let yourself just let go and step into the future. Something comes through, at the 11th hour, and it brings a bit of magic into your life. And you realize, wow, wait a minute, life does know what it's doing. I thought I had it all figured out, but I didn't. And I'm glad that didn't work out like that, because look what I got now, okay? And a lot of you as well, you know, you're dealing with one challenge after another. You may feel like you don't got a lot of support right now. Maybe you're working against the tide. It's possible, you know, there's challenges out there right now. It is a challenging atmosphere. But if that's your story, you know, maybe you need to like tap into your ancestral roots a bit. Maybe you need to remember who you are. Maybe you need to remember where you came from. Maybe you can talk to your ancestors. Maybe you can find some strength and pay some gratitude too. It helps, okay? It helps. Anytime we start feeling really gridlocked, anytime we start feeling like we're really struggling, one of the best things you can do is like move into service, like give, and or just pay gratitude, like start really being conscious of how grateful you are. And it may be the most tiny thing, you know. I know, okay, I've been there before. Like I've gone through periods where it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't handle one more thing. And it is sort of a Murphy's Law environment right now. But if you start practicing gratitude, and it can be something as small as like, I'm so grateful that that checker at the grocery store, you know, was so nice to me. You know, even something that's simple, it may seem silly in the moment, but I'm telling you, it has a cumulative effect. And over time, it changes your mind frame. And what happens is what we focus on expands. So it starts out small, but then it expands, just like your vision and your ability to see more of what is actually the light building in your life come into view. If you're always like looking through this reality tunnel where you're focusing on your problem, all right, it never allows you to escape this tunnel vision where you can start to see like, well, wait a minute, you know, there's not just this one little, you know, view here. There's this whole horizon. Oh, well, if I kind of like just take my focus off this one thing here, if I start looking in this direction, oh, hey, wait a minute. That's kind of interesting. Okay. And again, you know, if at first, if you're feeling really low, if you're going through a difficult transition in your life, like give to another, show up for another, be there for another person that you see struggling. I know that may seem counterintuitive to you, but it's amazing the way it can shift your perspective and the way it can make you feel like when you're at a place where you feel like life has no meaning, in being there for another, in showing up for another, in just doing like some random act of kindness or moving into service, it gives your life meaning. You know what I'm saying? And it builds a positive energy and it shifts things, all right? There's something you can't see right now. I feel like you feel like there's been a bit of like foul play in your life, or like some mean tricks been played on you, or something didn't work out the way you thought it should, or you might even be upset with a certain somebody and just feel like they're messing with you, whatever you're dealing with. At the end of the day, ultimately, it doesn't matter in terms of the bigger picture, okay? It doesn't, because time marches on. And you can stay stuck there, but then you're not really living. Or you can put your focus in the right place and remember who you are with the lamp, remembrance, and use that light to start to guide you forward. And you will find your way through. There's something coming through that makes the way better. I mean, we already know that, all right? Look at this. I just picked this up, 33. You're going to hit that target, all right? Shoot for the moon. You're going to hit the target. You're just in a place right now, you're going through a lot of transformation. There's a lot of emotions that you're alchemizing, like you're really getting in touch with what you're feeling. And, you know, it might be uncertain territory for you, but you're shedding an old skin. You're moving into expansion in your life. And when this lunar cycle is complete, you know, by the time you hit the next full moon, you're coming into alignment with somebody that's meant to come onto your path. And this person's going to be an important building block for your future, right? 33 could be important. 6 could be important. You could be a 6 life path number, 33 6 life path number, okay? Sagittarius energy factoring strongly. We also got wolf medicine back there. So With the wolf, it makes me think year of the dog, year of the snake, year of the horse in Chinese astrology. You know, I see this image, it makes me think of Hawaii. Hawaii might be a connection, but when I think of Hawaii, I automatically have the numeric association of 808 in my head because it's a download that's come in for me quite a bit. And 808 is actually an angel number that means you're on the right track, okay? So just because you don't see the evidence yet doesn't mean it's not there. Just give it a little time, all right? I feel like what you need that's going to help you really like hit your target, it's going to come in near the end of November. I'm trying to remember, the Sagittarius new moon comes in on December 12th. I forget when the full moon is coming in, the next full moon. It might be that full moon that comes in right before the Sagittarius new moon on the 12th. So the next full moon that comes in is going to be pretty significant. I feel like there's something that's going to happen then where you're going to take an action, and it's going to be the seeds that like sow your field of dreams. All right? There's something that happens at that time where you hit a target and it leads you to the beginning of the new chapter. All right? And it seems like it's about linking up with somebody, right? Sagittarius, this could be speaking strongly to you anywhere where you have Sagittarius strongly aspected in your chart. So look where this new beginning could be, or, you know, what kind of soulmate you could be linking up with, because a soulmate can be romantic, yes, but it doesn't have to be romantic. It could also be, you know, an important person that is going to mentor you in something. It could be somebody who is coming on your path as a teacher or a guide in some way. It could be somebody that you're meant to share the road with for a while to do something creatively together, right? So just be open and check out where you have Sagittarius placement in your chart, as well as what action you got going on in the 9th house. I feel like there's something pertinent there, right? Just pay attention. Pay attention. Listen to your instincts. Continue to, you know, shed those skins. I know it's not comfortable, but what you're in the process of releasing leads you to a big win, all right? It shows you hitting the target. And I feel like that target is the destiny, you know? It's going on that hunt, Taliesin and Caradwin vibes, all right? This is really bringing in that like Frog Rock, Spear of Lu, Cauldron of Dagda energy. You know, maybe that's where you're at right now. You're at this place of, you know, working out that terrain of transformation, moving through the Cauldron of Dagda, and that's why that snake is moving through that water. You know, you're in the cauldron right now. You're doing your healing work. You're integrating your feelings, your experiences. I feel like you're getting yourself out of binding agreements and certain contractual obligations, whether those be soul contracts or legal contracts. So you can come into alignment with something you feel aligned with spiritually. Look at this here. You see? There's some kind of soul bond here. Do you see? And you're freeing yourself from something that feels very uncomfortable and compromising. It's squeezing the life out of you, all right? And it brings you into alignment. And it was 39:11 on the clock when I said that. So definitely something's coming into alignment for you. It's got big 3 as a crowd. It's like one of these things is not like the other one. So something needs to go. So you can move towards this thing, and it's positive. It's not negative. You got to stop focusing on the problem. And Ted just said yes to that. So Ted's in agreement. This just flew on the floor. Whoa, came out again, all right? Yeah, what flew on the floor is this broken mirror, this bad luck, okay? This 13 energy. It's like 13 may be significant to you. 13 is a power number. It's also associated with Freya's day, all right? So maybe you feel like you've been dealing with one thing after another. Maybe you felt like you were born on a bad day. You know, I got that blues song coming through. You might have felt like you've been through a long stretch of just like one thing going wrong after another. You may have even suspected, like what's going on here? Like, you might have also been doing a lot of peering into the shadow. Some of you may have been doing work around releasing old superstitions, old fears, things that were holding you back, all right? Whatever, this time is done. Like this is thrown on the ground, okay? There's nothing that's holding you back anymore. There's nothing that's going to get in your way. This stuff is being transmuted. I feel like what you're dealing with right now is, it's the final showdown, right? You got, the rats here coming in with the zombies. Okay, so this is what's been kind of operating the show. This is what's been working behind the scenes, but what was buried, what you couldn't see before is coming back to life, all right? It's like return of the living dead. Some of you are dealing with people that, at one point they ripped you off. They ripped you off financially. They ripped you off emotionally. Maybe they ghosted you. Maybe you had people that you thought you could trust and you couldn't, okay? Maybe you had people who ratted you out, all of these scenarios come into play, but I feel like there's some situation that's coming back around the bend, and there's something that's being released here, transformed here. And for some of you, it's like letting this go. Maybe this is how you've always been with those repressed like memories and emotions. Like you tried to just keep them buried, like you didn't want to look at that stuff. And you can't avoid it anymore. It's coming up. It demands you pay attention to it. And it might come with people in tow to resolve certain issues with from that past and that time in your life, okay? And maybe in the past you would have ran from this. Maybe you would have ghosted this situation, all right? But there's some piece here where you're starting to realize the way that works against you. And I feel like you're deciding, no, I'm going to go about things in a new way now. And look, we see it again, all right? It came out again. Look at this. We got the moon and the sun. And this is beautiful. So we know that by you abandoning this, all right, it's like if you got these people that did you dirty, did you wrong, if you feel haunted by this stuff, sometimes this is the thing. It's like, don't go poking around stuff that, maybe you shouldn't be poking around in, because you might, bring something back to life that's better left to rest, all right? Sometimes it's best to let sleeping dogs lie. We don't need no pet cemetery scenario around here, okay? You know what I'm saying? Okay? Oh my God. Oh, although I have to say Gage was a pretty cute kid. I always thought he was so cute in the movie. But there's this piece here about, sometimes you have to just like let these things go and recognize that the only reason why these zombies are still kind of hounding you is because you're still living from that point of reference. And it's because you haven't cleared this stuff out. As soon as you lay it to rest, then it's done. As soon as you face it, then it's no longer hounding you. And then it doesn't steal all your time and your energy. And you also don't move through life in such a way where you just trust every person around you or all the experiences that come onto your path just because they don't look the way you think they should look right off the bat. You kind of let people reveal who they are to you. But I feel like a lot of you are making a break from things that have just really taken a lot of time and energy from you or have betrayed you in some way. And it's not easy necessarily to, let this stuff go, but kind of unearthing it all the time and repeatedly, like just looking at how you were done wrong, or, feeling the same, anger, resentment, whatever it may be. It's like, if you keep yourself on that loop, you're going to continue to recreate these experiences for yourself, because not because you're a bad person and not because that's what you deserve, but it's because it's all you're focusing on. So it's all you're going to be able to see. And it's almost like, it reminds me of like a crossed condition. Like Sometimes people think, oh, you know, so-and-so put a spell on me. So-and-so has been doing workings on me. And maybe they haven't been doing anything to you. Maybe it's that you're in that hall of mirrors, you know, and you're shadow boxing and you've created a crossed condition. It happens. People cross themselves all the time. You know, it's when you're so focused on the doom and gloom that that's all you're able to see. It's so simple as just like a little shift in focus can change everything. But what you can't see right now as we're closing up this karmic cycle is this is what's up ahead. Alignment, building blocks for your future. Look at this, 35, that's 8 energy. Yeah, there's a lot of change happening right now, but there's help on hand with the 3 energy there, okay? There's help on hand with these changes. Yeah, Uranus is, you know, at play, like unexpected stuff's happening. And yeah, are there heavy vibes mixed in there too? Are there combative vibes mixed in there too? Yeah, it's chaos, okay? But chaos is creative, and it's all about how you run the energy. If you can stay present and you can stay focused, and if you know where you're heading, and you can really just, you know, get yourself on a really supportive track for whatever goals you're trying to hit in your life, and you don't let yourself get distracted by nonsense, and you keep bringing yourself right back to this present moment instead of like constantly looking back or worrying about the future, then all of a sudden, you know, everything starts to shift. You start to feel different and your view changes. Your energy changes. It draws different things to you. Either way, as you start to break from this and you start to recognize, look, the only way I can get myself out of this bad luck cycle is, you know, I got to deal with me. You know, I got to get a different view of myself. Maybe you've been talking really negatively to yourself. Maybe you've been telling yourself, I'm never going to, you know, get out of this situation, or I'm never going to have the courage to, you know, leave this job, or I'm never going to be in a better position, or I'm never going to be loved, or, you know, whatever it may be. Whatever is keeping you held back, you know, whatever story you're telling yourself, maybe it's time to really look at yourself and ask yourself, why do I keep feeding this? Why don't I instead like move it into action, do something, you know, that at least feels productive, whatever that is. And gratitude is a good place to start. Just start as simply as just like wake up in the morning, think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Even if it's just, I woke up, you know, if that's it. And I'm laying in a bed and I got a roof over my head. I mean, that, hey, you're already winning. You know what I'm saying? And we want the big things. We want the big wins. We want the moments of what we see as victory according to, you know, what society is determined as successful. But, you know, if you're alive and you got another shot and you got another day ahead of you, you're already winning. So sometimes you got to start at the most basic level, 48, 44 on the clock. And as you do that, that energy expands. It's a helpful energy. It's a building block. And then soon you start to see your life changing and your viewpoint of yourself changing. And it changes the kind of experiences you're having and the opportunities that come your way, because your energy is different and like attracts like, okay? I see you coming into balance, and it's going to bring you a lot of happiness, all right? And it comes in with that full moon. There's some action you're taking. There's some truth that you arrive at, and there's an action you're taking where you finally know, like, this is where I'm heading. And once you come to this realization and you shoot your shot, here you go. It's your reroute, man. And you'll realize that all that mess you went through back there and the people you had to walk away from and the situations that had to come to a close, even though it felt like the worst thing in the world at that time, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to you, because now you're aligned with an authentic path. All right, let's do a cut of the deck energy. This looks good to me, man. All right, right now there's some secrets, okay? There's a little bit happening behind the scenes. There are some factions and there might be some cattiness in play. There's also a little, you know, temptation in the mix here. There are snakes in the grass. So it's not like this is an illusion, okay? What you're feeling, this energy is present. And this may be what's responsible, you know, for a breakup you're going through. Now, that breakup could be a breakup in a relationship. It could be a breakup of, you know, a friendship or a social circle dynamic. It could be you breaking away from a job, all right? And maybe it's messy for one reason or another. Maybe there was too much happening behind the scenes. People weren't being honest or people weren't moving correctly. But either way, you got a choice how you need to move through this, all right? These people who created this drama, like, let them clean up their own mess. You stay present and look, you get to be like that ship, that sailboat, riding off toward the horizon, heading toward the light and calmer water. Let these people clean up their own mess. You don't need to stay behind and look at that, and you don't need to fix this for anybody. I would personally just keep my eyes straight ahead. You know, why would you want to keep looking back at this? You know, if you stay too long at the site of, you know, a ship going down, when it goes down, it's going to suck you down with it. And you need to think about that, all right? So head to calmer waters. Just open up to the new, even if you don't understand it right now. Whatever you're releasing is to your benefit. And there are helpful people on hand here with the dogs. You do have loyal people in your life, okay? You may feel like you have all that cattiness around you. Maybe you have had some cats around you. Maybe you've had some rats around you too. Now the cats are eating the rats. The factions are all turning on each other. They're all fighting each other. It's a big drama-rama. Maybe they want to pull you into it. Maybe they want you to make sense of it. That's not your job. You need to just move on and, you know, pull in closer the people that, you know, are loyal to you, that have proven their loyalty. Masculine may feel like a very grounding force right now in your life. Some of you may be just like, hey, I'm hanging out with my dog. And hey, I feel that, you know, there can be a wonderful thing just spending time with your pets, you know, and receiving that unconditional love. Or maybe you want to go and, you know, adopt a pet. Adopt a pet, especially if you're feeling lonely. If you were like going through some big, you know, separation in a relationship or something, now you find yourself living alone again, you're able to have a pet and you want a companion, like that could be a wonderful way to go. I don't know why that's coming in, but that's coming in for somebody. But where you feel like all's lost, you know, and there's nothing left for you, and I feel this is really speaking for people going through something difficult in a, like the loss of a love relationship in particular. Look at this. Love's up ahead. That's what's on the other side of this experience. You're coming into alignment with who you were meant to be with. You know, it's like three is a crowd energy. One of these things is not like the other one. You know, it's like fool's gold, you know. You get rid of the fool's gold and you get the real thing. And that's something to be happy about, all right? So it looks like actually like a pretty positive turn of events once we get through some messy stuff, dancing with some old devils, facing the hall of mirrors and the apparitions of the past, okay? It's like the dead have to rise again, you know, and sort of like stir up things and rattle their chains and, you know, kind of like get us in this place of just sort of testing us. Like, are we going to let them feed on our brains again, these zombies, or are we going to, you know, do something different and kind of like use our wits, use our instincts, and just really feel out, you know, who am I now? Who have I come to be? And remembering the important parts of what you went through, certainly, but let it go, you know, don't try to control things, let it go. Trust the flow of your life. And, you know, a lot of times you'll find out it turns out a lot better than you ever thought it could. And I don't know why I feel like doing this, but I'm going to just pull out one arcane bullshit card. I'm just doing a cut of the deck as an overarching theme. The greased priest, okay? So yeah, you know, again, there's this piece about do some spiritual cleansing, all right? I have to say, I did feel a lot of this vibe in the atmosphere. I do think there's been a lot of stuff thrown around. I have to say this because ever since like the craft has become popularized, especially with the movie The Craft that came out. That really has driven so many people to the path of alchemy, but on a level where it's not really about studying alchemy, but sort of looking at it more from the base aspect of being in a position of power, being able to control things, being able to get goodies and spell work and hexing and all this kind of stuff, okay? And naturally, just with the way it's sort of been marketed, it's become marketed and homogenized. People don't really understand when they're working with this stuff. It's not just all shits and giggles. Like, this stuff has an effect, and it also can kind of like, it can leave a film on you. It can make your life difficult. You know, if you're casting stuff and you're working with energies and you don't understand them. I mean, you'll hear people say magic is not real, okay? But people who don't really work magic are people who say that. It is. It is, and it does have an effect. And there's a reason why people go through initiations, you know, to work a magical path. There's a whole, you know, process of coming into a path of alchemy that's not just to be gone about haphazardly and sort of like getting really big for your britches and getting in your ego and viewing it as like a pissing contest, which is kind of what it's become. You know, there's a lot of people that just throw around magical threats. Even, I've noticed, it's funny on social media, the way people act about the path of magic and what it means to be a witch. Let's just look at that piece right there, okay? And they don't realize that these things, they cause problems, and these things, they begin to kind of like cover your auric field. These things start to bog down your energy, and where you may have felt like you were really like high and mighty and spiritual, and like you were kind of playing God, you know, throwing around these kind of workings, trying to control things, manipulate things. You end up realizing that all you did is really like bog yourself down, hold yourself back, okay? And I do feel there's a lot of people in the collective right now that they're cleansing themselves of this stuff. You know, they're cleansing themselves of workings gone awry. And I think that largely has to do with the popularization of witchcraft from a pop culture angle. It was 57:57 on the clock when I said that, okay? Again, 33. You know, when you break it down, another building block. Like, this is important to really understand this piece, the way that when we misuse power, and if you're using your focus, your time, your energy to try to control other people, then you're going to end up being in this position where you're actually held back because it's your energy in play. It's your energy in play. Ultimately, that's what alchemy is. Everything that you think you're doing to others, you're actually doing it to yourself. That person is actually the focus for you to integrate, you know, some aspect of your shadow self that you haven't been willing to see. So as soon as you know that, as soon as you're feeling like anger towards a person or the need to get revenge on a person, if you can start to use it as a way to become very present and go, wait a minute, why am I feeling this? Like, what is this person reflecting to me? You start to get clean. You start to get clean. You start to shed this stuff. Everybody goes through this stuff in their life. Everybody does, okay? But this is the goal. This is the true alchemy. It's not like putting somebody in a jar or throwing around spells. It's to recognize like, oh, okay, you know, this is showing me something about myself. And you can use ritual to heal yourself. It's powerful. But again, that piece, you know, give yourself some spiritual baths, be up on your spiritual cleansing, clear away the old energy. Use this time over these next few days when the veil is its thinnest to call on your ancestors for support, for guidance, and to remember them and pay gratitude to them and clear away the old cycle. Do your release work because freedom's up ahead.